The Trump administration leading the plan to fast-track a coronavirus vaccine by the end of this year. Tonight, we take you inside Operation Warp Speed. So let's bring in SiO2 Chief Business Officer Lawrence Ganty and a COVID-19 human vaccine volunteer, Stella Sexton. Thank you both for what you're doing and for joining us tonight to give us a little bit of an inside scoop.
Pleasure to be here.
Okay, I want to start with something that the House Republican leader, Kevin McCarthy, the minority leader over there, had to say today about these efforts.
This warp speed, history will write about this. When we get to the moment in time that we have this vaccine, they'll write about how fast it would, and no other country could do what we did because of the ingenuity of this nation. And that's the focus of what we're trying to do.
Okay, so the two of you are part of history. And Stella, I got to ask you, every time we read one of these articles and we think about who are these humans that are willingly getting infected and trying these vaccines, you are one of them. Why did you decide to do it? Were you worried? Was your family worried? How's it going?
Well, first of all, I was not infected, so I was vaccinated, and I wasn't worried because of the informed consent process. They are really, really super careful, and they really put our safety first and make sure that we understand in plain language what the risks are. And so because of that, I felt like I understood the risks to me were fairly minimal. You know, no risk, but I felt like it was minimal enough. I knew I could not be contagious or infect my family, and so I felt I had a duty to try to help.
Well, it's an amazing thing that you're stepping up to do this. We need more and more folks like you. There are thousands out there now. And Lawrence, you are on the business side of this as well. I want to read something. The headline, Vaccine Makers Face Biggest Medical Manufacturing Challenge in History, says much of the world's attention is focused on the scientific race to develop a vaccine. But behind the scenes, experts are facing a stark reality. We may simply not have enough capacity to make, package, and distribute billions of doses all at once. That's a totally different hurdle. But what your company does is you have a very specific vial. It's patented. What's so special about it? How's it going to help in this case?
Well, first of all, I mean, generally speaking, most vaccine vials are made out of glass. So you have the issue of potential glass shortage due to the glass sand. For us, we've been spending the last 10 years in research and development inventing a new material, which is basically a hybrid of glass plus plastic. So what we do is we create a plastic container, which is engineered, and we basically apply a microscopic nano layer of pure glass on the inside. So you have best of both worlds. You have the best of glass and the best of plastic. Now, the benefit of that is because it's plastic, we're able to actually manufacture the product maybe 10 times faster than typical glass. So not only are you getting a safer container for the patients, you're actually getting something much faster. So the government worked with us and invested in us to really bring the product to market faster.
Yeah, you two could end up in the history books. I mean, this is amazing what we're doing. It's something that's never happened at this speed before. Stella, what's the next step for you? Do you have any worries along the way as this progresses?
Well, so I've already received my booster shot. It's a 2 vaccination series. So at this point, I really had just the very tiniest mild amount of fatigue after the first shot. That was my only side effect. No, I'm fine. I don't expect at this point that anything else will happen other than that I go back over the next year for periodic blood draws so they can check to see if my body is building immunity.
Okay, and Lawrence, for the folks there at your business who are working around the clock to get this done, what's the mood like?
They're actually extremely excited. I mean, for the first time, I think most people are really happy to come to work, working multiple shifts, working extra hours. It's very different when you have actually a purpose when you're doing your work. So I always hate to say that, people are excited because there's also a lot of people who are struggling, but we're employing, we've employed about 200 more people in the past couple months. We're continuing to hire, and the mood, no one's worried about working extra hours. No one's worried about, putting in the extra time because really what they're doing is they're really trying to contribute. As you said, we're all trying to make history. We're all trying to save the world in 3 months, save the world one vial at a time. And I think the entire organization is really behind it. They're really excited to try to contribute.
Well, Lawrence and Stella, our hats are off to you. We thank you so much for the individual ways and the collective ways that you are stepping up and trying to help in this fight against COVID that none of us knew January of this year we would be facing to try to get something done by the end of the year. But by the thanks to folks like you, we may get there, and we'll get there a lot sooner because of your work. Lawrence and Stella, thank you both.
Thank you.
All right, so we want to keep sharing these stories each night. This is what we're going to do. It's called Weathering the Storm. We're going to talk about how people are getting the rest of us through this. We're going to look at business owners and other volunteers and folks. So stick around for those this week.